In our today's class, we shall study about the chapter magnetism and matter. So this is the fifth chapter of NCERT textbook, volume 1. What is meant by magnetism? First of all, magnetism means study of magnetic properties, also study of magnetic substances and the phenomenon associated with the magnet. Altogether is known as magnetism. So study of magnetic properties, study of magnetic substances, and also about the study of the phenomenon or different process related to a magnet is known as magnetism. So study of magnetic properties of the substance, also study of magnetic substances and the study of phenomenon related to magnet is called magnetism. Okay. Since we are discussing about the magnetism, then you must know basically about a magnet, because it's the magnet which produces the magnetic field around it. Even when we pass the current through a conductor, in the region around the conductor there will be a magnetic field. Suppose if you pass the current through this conductor, if you imagine this as a conductor and passing the current through this, all around this conductor there will be magnetic field. But here let us know about what is meant by magnet. Magnet is a substance which produces magnetic field. This is one way of defining a magnet or giving the explanation to the magnet. There is other way of defining the magnet. What does it mean? What is that? A magnet is a substance which attracts iron filings when iron filing is brought close to it. That means if I consider this as a magnet, say for example I write one magnet, bar magnet I write, North Pole, South Pole, we know very well that all magnet possess two poles, North Pole and South Pole. There is no magnet with a single pole. That means monopole magnet do not exist. If I bring this magnet close to iron filings means powder of iron, fine powder of iron, or iron nails, that will also do. Then what happens? These iron filings now they stick to the magnet. So magnet can be considered as a substance which produces magnetic field around it. Okay. The word magnet is derived from the name of an island known as Magnesia in Greece, where magnetic ore deposits were found. The shepherd who took their cattle for feeding on this island, they found difficult to walk on the surface of this island because the shoes in which they were wearing used to stuck to the ground because of the nails. So the shoes in which they were wearing at that time had nails. So because of this they found difficult to walk on the surface of this island. Sometimes this magnet is also known as, that means this magnetic ore deposit is also known as lodestone or lead stone. Why it is called so? Because this ore, magnetic ore deposit, used to lead the direction for the navigators. So that is why it is also known as lodestone or lead stone. So what was the name of the place? Magnesia. Okay, it is an island in Greece. And this magnetic ore is also known as lodestone or lead stone, because it used to show the direction for the navigators when sailing on the sea. And here this magnetic ore, it is the natural form of magnet, because we come across two types of magnets. One is natural magnet and another one is artificial magnet. Natural magnets are found to be very weak, whereas artificial magnets are found to be strong. And one more thing is, in case of natural magnet, it has no regular shape, it has no perfect shape, because basically it is nothing but a ore. So this is nothing but a magnetic ore, which is nothing but natural magnet. Okay, it is always weak, it possesses weak magnetism. So whereas the artificial magnets are made up of iron, cobalt, nickel and their alloys. So these artificial magnets are very strong and they are of regular shape. Then what is this actually magnetic ore consists of? This magnetic ore is nothing but iron oxide. That means Fe2O3. So here, different metals are used and even alloys of these metals are used in the manufacturing of the artificial magnets. Artificial magnets are of varieties of shapes. We come across commonly used magnet is nothing but bar magnet, which consists of two poles, north pole and as well as south pole. Then disc shaped magnet, like this, disc shaped magnet with a hole at the center. Cylindrical shaped magnet, okay. So one end behaves like north pole and another end behaves like south pole. Here one face, suppose if the front face behaves like south pole, the back face of this disc shaped magnet. So this is disc shaped magnet. So the back face of this disc behaves like a north pole. So and this is nothing but cylindrical magnet. Okay, cylindrical magnet. Even we have spherical magnets. In case of spherical magnet, if one of the point behaves like north pole, exactly opposite to this, on the other side there will be a south pole. Similarly, we have ball ended magnet. Nowadays these magnets are not in use. Ball ended magnet. Okay, and as far as physics is concerned, commonly used magnets in the laboratory and for different experiments, basic experiments, are nothing but this bar magnet, which is of rectangular in shape, bar magnet, and as well as horseshoe shaped magnet. So this is nothing but horseshoe shaped magnet. So this one arm behaves like north pole and the other arm behaves like south pole. Here, so one ball behaves like north and another ball behaves like south. So these are the different types of artificial magnets. Whereas natural magnet, as I said earlier, so it is of irregular shape because basically it will be in the form of ore, and this ore was found to be in abundance at a place called Magnesia in Greece. So this is how the shepherd brought the concept of this magnet into light. It is through them we came to know that there exists a substance like iron oxide which can attract the other metals. Now suppose if I consider the bar magnet and as well as the horseshoe shaped magnet. These magnets are used commonly in physics lab. With respect to the bar magnet, let us know about the two terms. And one more thing about this artificial magnets are, they are very, very strong. They possess strong attractive power. Okay. So artificial magnets are very, very strong. Let us know about the two important terms with respect to this bar magnet, because we make use of this in the forthcoming explanation. What does that means? End to end, if I measure the distance, that is nothing but geometrical length of a magnet. From one end of the magnet to another end of the magnet. Say for example, if I consider this as a magnet, this end to this end, if I measure the length, that is nothing but geometrical length. Okay, I call this as L. Whereas between the two poles, one north pole and another one south pole. Remember, poles are not located exactly at the edge or exactly at the ends of the bar magnet. They are located slightly inside from the end or from the edge of the magnet. Now, if you measure the distance between these two poles, if I consider this as north, then definitely this will be south, or this may be north and this will become south. The distance between these two poles is nothing but known as magnetic length, and usually we represent this by 2L. So what is 2L represent here? So 2L represent the magnetic length of the magnet, whereas L represents the geometrical length of the magnet. Geometrical length of the magnet. So whereas as far as the studies with respect to the bar magnet is considered, we always make use of the magnetic length itself. Whenever we come across the mathematical derivation and other concepts related to this bar magnet, we do not consider geometrical length too much. We always make use of magnetic length. Magnetic length is made use in what? In excess whenever we need to derive an expression. So this we will come to know when we derive certain equations. Now let us study few properties of the magnet. Any magnet you take, any shaped magnet, that means it may be bar magnet or cylindrical magnet or shoe shaped magnet, whatever may be the shape of the magnet, the property more or less remains to be same. One of the most fundamental property is like pole always repels each other, whereas unlike pole attracts each other. That means if I bring two bar magnet with their north pole close to each other, okay, remember magnet with single pole do not exist. South pole will be on this side. This magnet will have south pole somewhere here. Similarly, this magnet will have south pole somewhere here. Suppose if I consider this as north pole and this as north pole, if I bring two north pole of the two bar magnets close to each other, then they tend to move away from each other. That is nothing but known as repulsion. So they tend to move away from each other, known as repulsion. Suppose similarly, instead of bringing north pole, if I bring south pole and south pole, once again, now if I assume once again that this as south pole of one bar magnet and this as south pole of another bar magnet, if I bring close to each other, once again they tend to move away from each other, which is nothing but repulsion. Whereas if I bring north pole of one bar magnet close to the south pole of another magnet, what happens? Certainly there will be attraction between those two poles. Let us write now. So this is south pole and this is north pole. So if I bring, let us say that this is south pole and this is north pole. If I bring close to each other, then definitely they move towards each other and they stick to each other because of attraction. That means unlike pole always attracts. So they tend to move towards each other and finally they get attracted to each other. South pole, north pole. So this is nothing but the basic property of the magnet. So let us write that in a simple way. So like poles always repels, whereas unlike poles always attract each other. Okay. Now let's consider the next property. Whenever we suspend a bar magnet, if I assume this as a bar magnet, if I tie this bar magnet by means of a thread and if I hang this from a rigid support with the help of a thread, okay, that is nothing but suspension. Then what happens? Let us see. So this is a rigid support like hook or nail to which one end of the thread is tied. Now the free end of the thread is tied to the magnet. Okay. Now what happens as we suspend the magnet? Initially it begins to oscillate like this for about a few seconds. That means it makes few oscillation. That is because of Earth's magnetic field. Okay. Later what happens? It comes to rest. It comes to rest along which direction? Along north and south direction. Okay. So initially it oscillates like this. It makes to and fro motion like this. Then finally it comes to rest along which direction? Means along north and south direction of the earth. Now the tip or the end of the magnet which points towards the north direction of the earth. Suppose if this end is pointing towards north, geographic north pole of the earth, then we call this end as north pole. Whereas the other end of the magnet, now it points towards the geographic south pole of the earth, because if one end is pointing towards north, certainly the other end of the magnet should point towards south. Therefore now this end or this tip of the magnet is considered as south pole. Remember, geographic north pole and south pole are different from that of magnetic north pole and magnetic south pole. So magnetic north and south poles are always related to magnet, whereas geographic north pole and south poles are related to earth itself. So this is another property of a magnet. A suspended magnet always comes to rest along north and south direction of earth. Okay. Then the tip or end of the magnet, directed or pointing towards geographic north pole. Geographic north pole means related to earth, is called north pole of the magnet. And similarly the tip pointing towards geographic south pole of the earth is called magnetic south pole. That means south pole of magnet. Okay, so this is one of the point to be remembered. Now if I consider the next property, I told you that magnetic monopole do not exist. That means if I consider a magnet, if I cut this into two pieces, don't think that the north pole got separated from that of south pole. The region where you are going to cut into two pieces, at that region there exist once again two poles. What does it mean? Suppose if this is a bar magnet, this is north pole and south pole. Okay, now if I cut this exactly at the center, now this becomes one magnet, this portion becomes one magnet, whereas and this portion becomes another magnet. Okay, so north pole and this is south pole. So I have cut here, therefore south pole exists, whereas here already what is there? South pole is there. So certainly here north pole should exist. Again if you cut it into two pieces, once again this will behave like one magnet and this portion will behave like another magnet. So each magnet now will once again have two poles, north pole and south pole. Again this portion will behave like one more magnet with how many poles? North pole and south pole. So same thing happens or holds good for this portion also. So that means there cannot be a magnet with single pole, either with north pole only or with south pole. That means monopole magnet do not exist. Monopole means single pole. Monopole magnets do not exist. You cut it into any small piece, even the tiny part or small piece behaves like a magnet with two poles only. Then what about the next property? Suppose if I consider a magnetic field. Magnetic field is nothing but what? It's a region around a magnet where magnetic energy is felt. Remember this. Suppose there is a bar magnet here. If this is a bar magnet, all around this magnet, if magnetic energy is felt or experienced, then this region, small region, not a wide region or a large region, because as we move away from the magnet, the magnetic field strength goes on decreasing. Okay, so therefore very close to the magnet, if we experience the magnetic energy, then that small region around the magnet is known as magnetic field. So here if I consider one magnetic field, I represent the magnetic field by means of one magnetic line of force, as we understood with respect to electric field. That means electric line of force. We represent electric field by electric line of force. Similarly, we represent magnetic field by magnetic line of force. I consider this as an uniform magnetic field. Remember, magnetic field is represented by the letter or the symbol B, capital B, and it is a vector quantity. Now, in this magnetic field, if I suspend one magnetic needle or a magnet, say for example, I consider now one magnetic needle. So this is one magnetic needle, okay. So this is the center of the magnetic needle. It is pivoted. Pivoted means supported by means of a nail. So when you just suspend a magnetic needle or even a bar magnet, initially what happens? The needle begins to oscillate like this for about a few seconds, or it makes few oscillation. Then finally the needle is going to align all along the direction of magnetic field. That means the magnetic needle now comes to rest along the direction of magnetic field with the north pole pointing in the direction of magnetic field. Suppose, once again, let us consider now, initially it begins to oscillate, then it comes to rest. If this is north pole and if this is the direction of magnetic field, then the north pole always points in the direction of magnetic field. This is another property which is to be remembered. So let us write this here. So this is nothing but the property number 4. When a magnetic needle or a magnet is suspended in a magnetic field, then what happens? Then the needle aligns along which direction? Then the needle aligns along the direction of magnetic field. Along the direction of magnetic field represented by B. So this is one more property of the magnet. Now let us study the next property of the magnet. That is fifth property. Suppose if we suspend a magnet by means of a thread, say for example bar magnet, then what happens? It always comes to rest along north and south direction of the earth. That means it possesses an attractive property. Soon after suspending this by means of a thread, it oscillates for about a few seconds, for a very short time, then immediately it comes to rest along north and south direction of the earth, but it doesn't come to rest along east and west direction. The iron filings get stick to the magnet. That means magnet possesses an attractive property because it can attract the iron filings. That is why the iron filings, due to attraction, get stick to the magnet. So overall what we can say means a magnet possesses both directive property and attractive property. So it possesses attractive and directive properties. Okay, then next let us consider one more property. Suppose if I consider a bar magnet or any magnet, whatever may be its shape, we know that all around the magnet for a small space there exists a magnetic field. Now close to this magnet, if I keep a magnetic substance, say for example I am going to keep one iron bar, means a piece of iron, then what happens means after some time this entire iron bar or iron piece starts behaving like a magnet. That means the magnetism get induced into this iron. Because of magnetic field of this magnet, the iron also gets magnetized after some time. This is nothing but induced magnetism. That means when a magnetic substance when kept close to a magnet, then magnetism is induced. Magnetism is induced in the substance. So this is nothing but we call this as induced magnetism. So these are all the properties of the magnet. Now let us come to know about what are magnetic lines of force. We already studied about electric lines of force with respect to electric field. Now we shall study about the magnetic lines of force with respect to magnetic field. We know very well that all around a magnet there exists a magnetic field, but the magnetic field is not visible, but we can experience the presence of magnetic field by some experiments. Okay, but how do we represent the invisible magnetic field? By means of a diagram. That means pictorial representation of magnetic field is nothing but a magnetic line. But that's not the definition. But if you want to know that there is a magnetic field around a magnet, it can be understood by drawing one simple diagram. So let us know about the magnetic line of force. What is meant by magnetic line of force? Suppose in a magnetic field, if I keep one magnetic pole, monopole, it is possible only theoretically but not practically, because practically monopole do not exist. Suppose this is the region of magnetic field. Okay. That means there is one magnet here, all around that magnet there is a magnetic field. Let us write one magnet for better understanding, North Pole and South Pole. So the region around this magnet there is a magnetic field. I want to represent that magnetic field by means of magnetic line of force. Then what is meant by that magnetic line of force? Suppose if I keep one magnetic monopole, say for example North Pole, unit North Pole I say. Unit North Pole means North Pole of pole strength equal to 1 unit. Each pole possesses its own pole strength. What is meant by pole strength? If one magnetic pole, it is nothing but the force of attraction or repulsion in which one magnetic pole exerts on the magnetic pole of another magnet. Suppose if this pole attracts or repels another magnetic pole, then that ability of attracting or repelling another magnetic pole of another magnet, that is nothing but pole strength. If I keep one unit North Pole, once again I am stressing on this point, it is only imagination because poles do not exist in isolated form. Poles always exist in pairs. For the purpose of explanation, I consider one monopole. Then what happens? This monopole now, it tends to move in one of the direction. Now say for example, if this monopole is kept somewhere here or somewhere here, and let us assume that this field exists even up to this region, then what happens? This unit North Pole now tends to move in one direction. The direction along which this unit North Pole tends to move, all along the direction, if I draw one imaginary line, this imaginary line is nothing but magnetic line of force. Okay. Suppose if this is a South Pole, if this is North Pole instead of South Pole, and if this is the South Pole of a magnet, now what happens to the same unit North Pole? If you keep here now, this unit North Pole now tends to move away from this pole due to repulsion. All along the direction in which the unit North Pole tends to move, along that direction, if you draw one imaginary line, that line is nothing but magnetic line of force. So what is meant by magnetic line of force means it is nothing but the imaginary line drawn along the path in which a unit North Pole tends to move. Okay. Now let us write the magnetic field pattern due to a bar magnet. That means let us now study the properties of magnetic line of force. If I consider the properties of magnetic line of force, similar to electric line of force, we come across too many properties. Let us consider now. So properties of magnetic line of force. So first property, magnetic lines of force always starts from North Pole to South Pole outside the magnet. That means now if I consider one bar magnet like this, okay, let us assume this as North Pole and this as South Pole. So this is north and this is south. Magnetic line of force, now they start from north pole towards south pole. Right from north pole I consider that magnetic line towards south pole, outside the magnet. Okay. Now let us consider once again like this. But inside the magnet, this magnetic line of force will be from where? It will be from south pole to north pole. Okay. So I represent that by means of dotted line. So this is south pole and this is north pole. Outside, if it is from north pole to south pole, the same magnetic line will continue from south pole to north pole inside the magnet. That means what? That means the magnetic line of force forms a closed loop. Whereas in case of electric line of force, the electric line of force do not form closed loop. It is not continuous, but here it is continuous. Right from outside through magnet, inside also it is continuous. Okay. In case of electric line of force, what happens? If you consider this as positive charge plus Q, okay, and this as minus Q, electric line of force always starts from positive charge and terminates or ends at negative charge. Understand? So this is how we can write the electric line of force. They do not form the closed loop. Whereas in case of magnetic pole, always it is a closed loop. Let us write few more magnetic line of force. Like this. So these magnetic line of force are used to represent the magnetic field that exists all around a magnet. So what I can write means I can write like this. Magnetic line of force now starts from north pole to south pole outside and south pole to north pole inside. Magnetic line of force starts from north pole to north to south pole inside, north to south pole outside, whereas and south to north pole inside the magnet. That means overall they form what? They form closed loop. Okay. So this is one of the property. Let us consider one more property. Now all around this magnet there exists a magnetic field. If I want to find the direction of magnetic field, say for example, I want to find the direction of magnetic field at this point. How do we find the direction? Simply draw one tangent. The tangent drawn gives the direction of magnetic field at this point. Similarly, if I want to find the magnetic field direction at this point, then I draw one tangent. Whereas here at this point, draw one tangent. Again here, if you want to find the direction of magnetic field, draw the tangent. Again here, draw the tangent. So the tangent drawn at any point gives the direction of magnetic field. So the tangent drawn at any point to magnetic line of force gives the direction of magnetic field. Gives the direction of magnetic field at that point. So this is another property. Then one more thing is, wherever lines of force are crowding, their field is stronger. Wherever lines of force are far away, that means if they spread out, then the field is found to be weaker. So we can write a few more magnetic lines of force like this. And remember, here the tangent should be drawn along which direction? Along the direction from north to south, because outside the magnet the lines of force are from north to south. So all along the direction only you have to draw the tangent. We should not draw the tangent like this to represent the direction of magnetic field, because north pole is here. From the north pole the lines of force are emerging towards the south pole. Then what will be the next property? So field is stronger where magnetic field lines are closer to each other and weaker, and let us write here weaker if the magnetic, I write it in short form, magnetic field lines are far away from each other, or if they spread out. If they spread out like this, field is weaker. That means from this figure we can understand that near the pole region the field is stronger. Why? Means near the pole we can notice the field lines are crowding, too many field lines are accumulated. Here also too many field lines are gathering. So therefore at the pole region the field is stronger, whereas as we move away from one pole to another pole the field goes on decreasing. Look here, stronger, it becomes weak, again becomes weak, it continuously goes on becoming weak up to the center. Now again if we move from the center towards another pole, the weak field slowly goes on increasing. So from here it goes on decreasing, it becomes minimum, again now it starts increasing when we move towards the pole. So this is another property of the magnetic line of force. Then one more thing is, two magnetic lines of force never intersect with each other. So this already we studied even in case of electric line of force. What happens if two magnetic lines of force, if they cross each other or if they make contact with each other? You just look into the figure, none of the magnetic line of force is making contact with any other magnetic line of force. All the magnetic lines of force are well separated. See, you can notice this space. So this line and this line got separated, again these two lines got separated, here also. So no magnetic line of force is making contact with another magnetic line of force. So we can identify this also as one of the property. Two magnetic lines of force never intersect with each other. Now what happens if they intersect with each other? Suppose if they intersect with each other, then at that point there must be two magnetic line of force. Now let us assume like this. Say for example, this is one magnetic line of force, magnetic line 1. And now if I consider one more magnetic line 2. Okay. Now these two magnetic lines of force are making contact with each other. What will be the field direction here? Then there exists always only one field direction at a given point. At one point there must be only one field direction. This already we have found out from this figure. Look here, at this point only one field direction like this. At this point the field direction is like this. This also clearly shows that the magnetic field direction all around a bar magnet do not remain same. Continuously the direction of the magnetic field is changing from point to point. At this point it is like this, at this point it is like this, whereas at this point it goes like this. So the field direction continuously keeps changing from point to point. But if I apply the same here, at this point, now what will be the magnetic field direction with respect to second line? Draw the tangent. The tangent gives the direction of magnetic field with respect to second line. I call this as B2. Now what is the magnetic field direction with respect to the magnetic field line 1? At this point, draw the tangent again with respect to this magnetic field line. So this will be the tangent B1. That means at one single point, two field directions cannot exist. At one single point, there must be only one field direction. Either it must be like this or it must be like this. But two field directions cannot exist. We have already seen this. That is why two magnetic lines of force never intersect with each other. Now, let us move on to the next property of magnetic line of force. Here, I have written the magnetic field pattern due to a bar magnet in terms of magnetic lines of force. Whatever magnetic field that exists all around a bar magnet, that can be understood by means of a diagram written by making use of magnetic line of force. Coming to the next property, look here. We know that two like poles always repel each other. What may be the reason for this? The reason is magnetic line of force always expand laterally. That means they expand sideways. This side and this side, if the lines of force expands, that results in the repulsion of two like poles. Whereas if the magnetic lines of force contract lengthwise, that means if the magnetic lines of force shrink all along its length, then that results in the attraction of two unlike poles. So let us write that like poles repulse each other. What may be the reason? Because magnetic line of force expand sideways. Sideways means laterally. Okay. Now similarly, unlike poles. Like poles means north and north or south and south. Unlike poles means north and south. Unlike poles attract each other. Okay. Because what happens here? Magnetic line of force contract lengthwise, means longitudinally. Okay. So this is the reason that why like poles repel and unlike pole attracts. Then coming to the next property. See, magnetic lines of force will pass through both conductors and insulators, whereas electric lines of force will pass through only insulator but not through conductors. Magnetic line of force can pass through both conductors and insulators. That means the lines of force can penetrate. Suppose if this is an insulator, say for example piece of wood or somewhat like that. If I apply or if I keep this insulator in a magnetic field, then the magnetic lines of force will pass through this insulator. Similarly now, if I keep one conductor, okay, again if I keep this conductor in a magnetic field, uniform magnetic field or even varying magnetic field, then what happens? Inside the conductor, we know very well that the field lines move closer to each other, but they do not intersect. So these field lines, they move closer to each other. Outside again, the field lines maintains parallelism like this. So that is one difference. That means inside the conductor, the field becomes further strong. Outside uniform, here it is a strong field. So this is how the magnetic lines of force can pass through both conductors and as well as insulator. Then what are uniform field and a non-uniform magnetic field? How do you represent the uniform magnetic field and non-uniform magnetic field by means of magnetic lines of force? If the field is uniform, then we represent that by means of parallel magnetic lines of force like this. So this is uniform magnetic field. Okay. Then how do you represent non-uniform magnetic field? Remember, non-uniform magnetic field may be either like this, diverging, maybe diverging like this, or even may be converging like this. Understand? So it may be diverging or converging, or, but remember, no magnetic lines of force are going to meet at a point, they do not intersect, but they move as though they are going to converge, but they do not meet at a point. Even the magnetic lines of force may be curved like this. If it is curved, then also it represents non-uniform magnetic field. Uniform field is represented by parallel lines of force. All these diagram represents what? Represents non-uniform magnetic field. Non-uniform magnetic field. Okay. Then what about the field that exists all around a bar magnet? Is it a uniform field or non-uniform field? Certainly it is a non-uniform field, because lines of force are not parallel like this. If every line of force maintains equal space from one another, then we say that as uniform magnetic field. But that doesn't look in this diagram. In this diagram, it is found that the magnetic lines of force are curved. So as we move away from the magnet, the field strength goes on decreasing. Similarly, as we move away from the poles, the field strength goes on decreasing, because the field lines goes on spreading out like this. If the field line spreads out, if they are far away from each other, certainly field is weaker. Only if the field lines comes close, the field is stronger. That is why near the pole, the field is stronger, whereas at the center of the magnet, field is weaker. Again, if you move away from the poles sideways and also lengthwise, the field goes on decreasing. So certainly this is nothing but non-uniform magnetic field. Non-uniform magnetic field. So it can be represented by curved line, or by means of diverging magnetic lines of force, or by means of converging magnetic lines of force. So these are all the properties of magnetic lines of force. Let us consider two more points. Suppose if I consider one bar magnet here, so this is north pole and this is south pole. Okay. Now if I draw one line passing through these two poles, the line joining the north and south pole, this represents the axis or axial line of a magnet. Okay. Now suppose if this is the center of the magnet, if I draw one more line perpendicular to this axial line or axis, we call this as equatorial line. We call this as equatorial line. So this is nothing but axis or axial line of a bar magnet, and a line perpendicular to the magnetic axis passing through the center of the magnet is known as equatorial line. Okay. So these are the properties of magnetic lines of force, and these are the two simple ideas with respect to the equatorial line and the axial line. Thank you.